that same night, after I concluded my press conference, it was reported and shown on a Washington, D.C. news station, Channel 9, on live TV, footage of the wheel's presence in Washington, D.C. Take a look at this video footage.
Well, I don't know whether it's a contrail of a jet, but I don't think it's a comet. Over here, as the sun is, the comet's tail should point away from the sun because the radiation from the sun should be pushing it back. Also, this object, this would-be comet, is moving too fast through the sky for a comet.
All right, Greg, can we see the close-up tape now? We take the same one and we run it through our hands and kind of blow it up. Now, comets would be visible day after day for a couple days at least, right?
That's right, exactly. You should see it for many days. It's moving, of course, very, very fast, but as it moves through the sky, it would not be moving anything like that. The tail on this does, in fact, look like a comet. It's simply pointed the wrong way, and it's moving too fast.
Okay, what else could... Okay, here's a close-up. Hold it there. What would cause that?
Well, it could, of course, be a vapor trail from an airplane, and somebody would claim it's a UFO, but I would not say it's that. You should turn to that as the last possible explanation, and I suspect that others can come up with the explanation in meteorology.
All right, I don't have any meteorological explanation. I mean, if it was a vapor contrail, there's one thing that blows that theory. That is that this was seen in Baltimore almost 60 miles away, exactly the same way, at exactly the same time, at exactly the same spot of the horizon. That tells me it can't be a contrail. You can't see that far.
Well, with respect to being a comet, in fact, there is a reasonably bright comet on the horizon, which you could see if you look very carefully, but it's north-northwest, and this appears to be south-southwest. So it's in the wrong place in the sky. And I've checked with the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory and the Naval Observatory, and they're not aware of one, or at least they didn't know when I called them. I don't think that this is a comet.
So what we're left with is what are your possibilities in order?
Well, first of all, I think you need more data. You need to analyze them better. I'd like to see some photographs from data. You might find that there's a comet that people have not yet reported. You might find that it's somehow related to an airplane. You might find that it's some type of meteor. You find occasionally there are meteors, rocks that are simply going through the sky, what a child would call a shooting star, which will cause a momentary streak of light. It's called a bolide. Perhaps one of those. But I would not say it's a UFO.
Keep you updated. Meanwhile, Bill Kamal will be back with a 6-day forecast in just a couple of minutes. Gordon, that's it.
What do you think it is?
I'd go towards the meteor or something breaking up from space, but not neither a contrail or a comet.
You go toward the shooting star theory?
Yep.
Not toward the UFO theory?
No.
Stay with us now as Eyewitness News continues.
And that's what they were. They were jet contrails. They were totally unrelated to what we saw last night. Now, I'm not saying that last night's may not have been a jet. It could have been well, but they were two separate incidents, and tonight what we saw had nothing to do with last night. On the right, you see a picture of today's definite jet contrail. I watched it myself with the naked eye. On the left is yesterday's Newswatcher tape. Let's roll the Newswatcher's tape just for a moment so we can put it in perspective. The main difference that I see is the last night's image was much brighter and much more billowy than the other night. Now, the scene I talked with Captain Neiman at the U.S. Space Command at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado, they track all the debris in space that might re-enter. It does not correlate with the thing they were tracking, so we can rule that out. Dr. Richard Berenson said it was not a comet. We can rule that out. Most likely it was not a meteor. We can probably rule that out. So what we're left with is maybe a real high-flying airplane, maybe a military plane 78,000 feet, or maybe something from space floating by. There is no indication as any sort of ship or vehicle from another planet or anything like that. We try to update it because it was interesting, it was fascinating to watch, and one by one we're eliminating things, and hopefully tomorrow we can put it to stay with it, a contrail of some sort that was kind of highlighted or backlighted by the sun. It was very beautiful looking. But that seems to be an indication either from a commercial aircraft or possibly even a military aircraft flying at very, very high altitude. We believe that's what it was. And that's the story. And if there's any more to tell in a few days.
The video footage was not of the highest quality, but it is sufficient to show the presence of the wheel over Washington, D.C. I continued with my response to the Washington Post, and I said to the editorial board, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us for nearly 60 years that these planes exist. You called them unidentified flying objects. They're not that to us. They're referred to in the writings of Ezekiel the prophet as the wheel within a wheel that was seen by Ezekiel in a vision 595 years before Jesus was born.